I'm Ron Korn, running for Bonner County Commissioner, District 3. Some of the top bullet points that I'm running on is bringing government back to the people, shrinking government and making it more accessible to the people. I'm also running on property rights also, like everybody else. It seems to be the hot topic. And just trying to re-educate the people and remember who actually the government is and who the representatives are. The representatives that we elect no longer seem to represent us, in my opinion, and they become bosses or kings or overlords or whatever the ideology is. But I want to bring representation back to the people. What makes me qualified to be a commissioner? I've run many different organizations. I've been in charge of many different ones.
For example?
Well, Search and Rescue, Bonner County Sheriff Search and Rescue. I got involved with that probably a year after I moved here, which is 24 years ago. So, and I'm still involved in it. We still exist. So I created a volleyball club here in town. I can see, I'm a very competitive person. I'll be up front with you. I see faults and I see how I can do things better, and therefore if I can't change it, then I go and create it. My daughter in middle school wanted to play volleyball, and so we got into the volleyball club, and I wasn't happy with the performance end of things. It was more of a social thing. I'm not a rich man, and if I'm going to spend money on something, I want to get my money's worth. And my daughter at the time, she really loved the sport, and we made a commitment if she wanted to play club ball at thousands of dollars a year to play club ball, that you were going to give it 110%. And that wasn't available at the time, so I created 7B Volleyball Club and got a great coach, Jeff Hurst, and he's a great volleyball career. He knows what he's doing. He ran the girls hard. We took a team and we built an awesome team out of it. I've also been involved with the Scouts. I was a Scout leader when my oldest son was in Cub Scouts. At the local level, it's still a good thing for young boys, you know, and young men to learn how to start fires and do all the merit badges. It's still a great program. So, along with Search and Rescue, I took over and took charge when the Lions Club canceled the 4th of July parade and the fireworks show for 2020 due to COVID. So I said, heck no, and had 7 weeks to do something about it. Contacted a good friend of mine, and together we were going to actually go ahead and hold the parade like it always has been in the past. And we used Facebook. I hate Facebook, but we use Facebook. It's a great way to reach people. And through the community support, we were actually able to pull off the parade just as good or better than it ever was in the past. We had the best fireworks show ever in the history of
you're a real hero over there.
Bonner County.
Yeah.
Thank you to some great people that donated large amounts of money, because they were upset too. And then we also added the picnic at the park with all the games for the kids and the dunk tank and all that good stuff. So I've always wanted to bring that small town feeling, you know, back and get away from the commercialized stuff. And I think that's where America needs to be, is back, hometown celebrations, meeting your neighbors, having a good time, and not being charged for it. Everything at that park was free. Just come and enjoy it because the people donated. I started off the identity of the 3%ers. Okay, at the time I didn't realize it was an actual physical group. I think I just was doing some research on the internet, and it's like the 3% came up, and I read about it. I'm like, well, I can identify with that. I would see myself being one of the 3% standing up and fighting for our country against tyranny and standing up for our rights and our liberties. And then a friend of mine that I know from the gun shows called me up one day out of the blue and said, "Hey Ron, you know, some of our 3% group is going over to provide a security detail for Cliven Bundy over in Paradise, Montana. Do you want to go?" And I'm like, I was kind of surprised. I'm like, "Well, yeah, I want to go." So a bunch of us went over there, listened, and got to meet Cliven and his wife. And then I realized that there was an actual physical group. So then I got involved and was trying to grow the group here in Bonner County. There's a few things I wasn't happy with. I wasn't happy that it was not a grassroots movement. It's a statewide movement, and it was being operated from the top down, not from the bottom up. I did not agree with that. So I left and I started my own 3% group, 7B 3%. And
Were you affiliated with the national
I
organization?
was not affiliated with anybody.
Okay.
And I think that's a big thing right now, especially with what's going on in the political field, what's going on with January 6th. Right or wrong, someone somewheres in a large group can do something wrong and it smears everyone. So, and when I said that we evolved, is that we actually evolved from the name 7B 3% to 7 Bravo Militia. And that's our current name. So this is a local only, 7 Bravo being 7B. It's a
Right.
Bonner County militia. We're a Christian faith-based militia. We base everything on the Lord, and we run it that way. Prayers are done before trainings and before meetings.
How large is your group, or roughly?
Oh, it's small, a couple dozen people.
Okay. Tell us about North Idaho Way, because you are listed as one of the founding members.
I am, and I had nothing to do with that. Here's the facts. Dan McDonald invited me to attend a meeting when they were first building it. I went to the very first meeting, and it was explained to me that with the issues and the problems in the Republican Central Committee, that I've been to their meetings and I wasn't happy with what I saw. And so it's like, well, Dan wanted to start a separate group that, I don't know if parallel is the right word, but a similar duties, similar activities as the Republican Central Committee, but without all of the groupies, if you will, and the infighting and the way the board is run. I saw the different groups going on, the cliques, if you will. So, I mean, it sounded great. You know, we were going to bring candidates up, teach them how the process works, such as myself. I have no idea. I've never run for a public office before. Never thought I would. How do I do that? Where do you get that information? It's not readily available, and it's hard to know where to go look for that. So one of the purposes of this North Idaho Way was to help people like myself to figure out the process, to vet, and also to support conservative candidates. What's wrong with that? I didn't see anything wrong with that. So I went to the first 3 meetings, and we were discussing a lot of things. One of the first things that we did was the bylaws. And we were basically cutting and pasting from the state Republican Central Committee bylaws. And we got to the point where God is mentioned in the state bylaws. And there, we stopped there, and someone said, well, maybe we should think about leaving God out of our bylaws. And the question was raised, why? Because the group was wanting to attract the middle of the road voters, not necessarily conservative, but the middle of the road. So I was assuming people that were not hardcore Democrat or hardcore Republican. They were just your average middle of the road people, and try and get them to understand the ways of rural Bonner County, and maybe get them to start thinking towards the conservative side. So the word God came up, and that was a red flag for me. I'm a Christian, and I think everything should be done, especially in government, under God. and now we're discussing about leaving God out of it. So I think I might have went to 1 or 2 more meetings after that, and then I quit going.
Did they take God out of their platform?
No. Otherwise, I would have been
Was
gone
it an
that night.
overwhelming vote?
It was just really wishy-washy, to be honest with you. It went back and forth to debate, and
Did it barely pass? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know if it was actually ever like voted on. It was just finally the consensus kind of came around. No, we should leave the word God in it.
Okay.
And that was 8 months ago or so. I mean, that's how long ago it was. And I haven't been to a meeting since. I haven't participated since. I haven't participated in surveys since. I haven't participated in voting new members in since. We should not take any government grants or ARPA funds, in my opinion. That way we don't even have to understand and send it through legal what strings come attached with it. A lot of people don't understand that the ARPA money is being printed up. The government grants, you know, a lot of people praise themselves, oh look, I saved the county or the city X amount of money because I got a grant. The government doesn't earn any money. It does nothing to earn money. The only way it gets money is by taxation. That money isn't free. Someone paid for that. So when you're spending $90,000 on artwork or whatever it is that you got the grant for, somebody paid for that. And I disagree with taking government funding. I've been talking to a few people, and I understand their frustration when they talk to candidates, because I have in the past too. I've been involved with some of the sheriff's races, being involved with search and rescue and all. Obviously being involved in our presidential races, watching the campaigns on TV, and what do all of them do? I'm talking to a guy in the parking lot the other day, he's like, why should I vote for you? I'm like, well, this is what I believe in, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, everyone else says the same thing. I'm like, I know, I get it. I feel your frustration. I'm a citizen too. I'm 57 years old. I voted a few times in my life, and I stuck my neck out for candidates that didn't do what they said they were going to do. Trump is the only president since I've been voting that did what he said he was going to do.
That's right.
Like the man, hate the man. I don't care. He did what he said he was going to do. Please look at what I've done in the 24 years that I've been here for the community as a volunteer. Okay? Talk's cheap. I'm a man of action. I walk the walk. I don't talk the talk.
Excellent.
So we all listen to, everyone tells us what we want to hear, and we vote for them. And then we see nothing for 4 years. I'm tired of that. So